News every 15 minutes, weather every 10, and sports twice an hour.
Newstalk, KGVO, AM 1290 and 101.5 FM.
You're listening to Montana Morning with Peter Christian.
A Nevada man held on a $1.5 million fugitive warrant in Missoula. Good morning, everyone. Montana Morning for Wednesday, May 25th, 2016. The sky is overcast. We have 36 degrees in Missoula right now. Our newscast sponsored by Selway Armory, with more guns and ammo than anyone in Missoula, Montana's premier firearms dealer on Stockyard Road. Our top story this morning, 50-year-old Anthony Mastionio is being held in the Missoula County Jail on a $1.5 million fugitive warrant out of Elko, Nevada. Detective Jim Carpenter with the Elko Sheriff's Office said there were 9 separate charges of sexual abuse of 2 minor children, and the investigation spanned 3 states, Nevada, Idaho, and Montana.
I've worked the case in our jurisdiction in Jackpot. I also worked with and had some information from the investigators in Twin Falls, Idaho. Once the case was put together, I wasn't able to really make contact with this individual. The report was then forwarded to our district attorney's office, and they made the charging decisions, and a warrant was issued.
At his Justice Court appearance yesterday, Mastionio waived extradition, meaning he agreed to be returned to face charges in Nevada. Carpenter expressed his gratitude for the cooperation of all the law enforcement agencies who assisted.
I'm grateful for the efforts and the cooperation between our agency, the guys I worked with in Idaho, and then the information was passed on. We had some information that he could possibly be in that area, and the information was passed on to the agency up there that helped us round him up.
Judge Karen Orzek set a date of June 20th as a deadline to ensure that Mastionio would be transported back to Nevada to face charges. The mother of a 2-year-old boy who was beaten and died in February of 2015 is now being charged in connection with his death. The Daily Interlake reports 22-year-old Takara Juntunen was charged Monday with felony negligent homicide in the death of Forrest Groeschel. She's also been charged with criminal possession of dangerous drugs. She did not enter a plea. Prosecutors allege Juntunen negligently caused her son's death by placing him in the care of 22-year-old Brandon Newberry, who she knew or should have known was using methamphetamine and was injuring the child. Prosecutors allege she didn't seek medical care for her son, who had been throwing up in the days before his death. An autopsy found the boy was poisoned after suffering a lacerated small intestine. Newberry is serving a 40-year prison sentence. 33-year-old Jared Ryan Kuntz has a long history of run-ins with the law, but the man who once proclaimed himself the king of Montana on a 911 call is now back in the Missoula County Jail. Missoula County Sheriff's Office Public Information Officer Brenda Bassett said that Kuntz led deputies on a day-long chase this week through the woods.
We received a call that somebody may be in the Lola Hot Springs area on drugs, so we went up there to do a welfare check. It was discovered that he had a probation violation. He fled from deputies kind of off into the trees, and that's when we decided to take our canine unit out. They were able to track him, but then lost him again in the trees. After a while, law enforcement became concerned for Kuntz's safety during what was expected to be a cold and rainy night. After a few hours, we all kind of reconvened, and as it got later in the day, decided that we needed to worry about the welfare of this person. He was in shorts and a cut-off sweatshirt. So we initiated our special response team, as well as Tuber Air. We asked for their assistance. They came down. We weren't able to find him after searching for several hours. Then this morning, we received a tip that he may be at a residence in Lolo. Kuntz was found at that residence and arrested, and he's under arrest on a probation violation. A federal judge is considering a request by state attorneys to stay part of his ruling last week that invalidated campaign contribution limits approved by voters back in the 90s. District Judge Charles Lovell peppered Montana Department of Justice attorneys with questions during a hearing yesterday, but did not make an immediate ruling. Last week, Lovell ruled for the second time in 4 years that Montana's campaign contribution limits are unconstitutional. As a result, state officials reinstated contribution rules in place prior to the initiative. That means higher contribution limits for individuals and political action committees, but also that political parties could contribute unlimited amounts of money. State attorneys argued that lifting limits on parties could allow individuals and PACs to circumvent limits placed on them. More methamphetamine problems in Missoula has already led to 2 new arrests on felony charges. Missoula Police Department Public Information Officer Travis Welsh has more.
We had 2 people taken into custody in the last 24 hours. that were initially arrested for other things, but then both were found to be in possession of what appears to be methamphetamine, and so were subsequently charged with the felony.
Meth was not the initial cause for the arrest in either case.
One was arrested for an outstanding warrant. He was found to be in possession of meth, and that was in a pocket concealed inside of a flashlight. And the other was arrested for driving with a suspended driver's license. And when she arrived at the jail, she was found to be in possession of a small amount of meth in one of her pockets as well.
The two people in custody, 33-year-old Stephen Everhart and 25-year-old Tesla Standing Rock, are facing multiple charges. Hecla Mining Company has reached a nearly $30 million deal to acquire Mines Management Incorporated, the owner of the Montanore mine in northwestern Montana. In the proposed merger, announced yesterday, each outstanding common share of Spokane-based Mines Management will be exchanged for 0.2218 of a common share of Hecla, which is based in Coeur d'Alene. Hecla officials say they'll continue efforts to get the Montanore silver and copper mine near Libby into production. Today marks the first day that Missoula's updated cell phone ordinance goes into effect. Police Department Sergeant Greg Amundsen explains those changes.
Essentially what the City Council did was they removed nearly every exception for why you can have the phone in your hand while you're driving in Missoula. Under the old ordinance, before they made the revisions, if you were looking for music on it or using it as a music player, you could hold it. If you were using it as a GPS device, you could hold it. That's not true any longer.
There are now far fewer exceptions for when a driver can have a cell phone in their hand here in Missoula.
One of the exemptions is reporting illegal activity, summoning medical emergency help, or for preventing injury, which most everything that a law enforcement officer is going to be doing on their phone as far as communicating with 911 or other officers is going to be covered under that section. But citizens are allowed to call 911 to report dangerous activity or any type of medical emergency.
Newstalk Times, 638.
Newstalk, KGVO.
Missoula's official weather station.
Look for